owe $216 on a double parking ticket from last year. Can you pay the $216 and the $200 today? So $416. Can you pay that today? When? You ready to proceed? All right. What's that? Okay. Okay. And Madam Prosecutor, you ready to go? All right. Let's go. Officer, come on up. Watch your step on my incline ramp. Raise your right hand. Swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth today? I do. Settle in that chair. When you're ready.
Morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name for the record, please.
I'm Mercury.
And how are you employed?
Living here in Charter Township.
How long have you been employed with the township?
A little over 5 years.
And did you work in a similar capacity elsewhere prior to your employment?
I did.
Where?
I'm retired from the Washington County Sheriff's Office.
And how long were you with the Washington County Sheriff's?
Almost 30 years.
And what are your general duties as an ordinance enforcement officer?
To enforce all zoning, general law, and property use code, and assist residents with questions and of that matter.
And are you familiar with the property located at 714 Oakley Road?
I am.
Is that in your township?
It is.
Can you describe the property for the court?
The property is zoned R3, residential property, but it looks like it's a outdoor storage flea market. It's just you're in a sanitary condition with rubbish, via cemeteries throughout the property, RVs in disrepair. All this with party tents that are erected in the front yard.
Okay, and do you know who owns the property?
Mr. Hubbard does.
Okay. And can you tell me why you're familiar with the property located at 714?
I have received complaints several times about this property.
And on January 5th of this year, did you have an opportunity to conduct a field inspection of the property?
I did.
And during your inspection, what did you observe?
Just as I described a moment ago, the property, just miscellaneous rubbish and like flea market type of looking property with party tents in the front yard, trailers in the front yard, with junk in it, inoperable RVs. The property is quite large. If you go back to one of the cemeteries off of Waltz Road, that's at the back, someone being in the cemetery can see these semi-trailers that have been parked there. All kinds of ordinances only.
That's what I was saying. To your knowledge, it is a violation to maintain or prevent any of those clogs and flights.
Yes, sir.
And is it your normal practice to take photographs during field inspections?
It is.
And did you take photographs during your field inspection of the 714 Waltz Road?
I did.
And what did you use to take photos?
I use my cell phone.
Alright. Your Honor, at this time I would like to introduce what will be proposed in People's Exhibit. A copy here for the respondent. Can you just take a moment to go through those real quick?
Sure. These appear to be the photos that I've taken.
Alright, and those are the photos we took on January 5th?
Yes.
And are those a true and accurate representation of the condition of the property at 714 Oakley Waltz Road?
It is.
Your Honor, at this time I would like to admit that it is exhibit. Please the comments on the visual.
How many pages is that? Just so we can make it. One exhibit, 39 pages. Mr. Hubbard, take a minute to go through those and then tell me whether or not you have any objections to those being admitted.
Yeah, that's been going on my properties.
I'm sorry?
This was on my family. I might go for to speak for myself.
Okay. So you have no objections to those being admitted?
Well, they could be admitted, and like, two of these are already been not there.
Well, we can talk about what they mean. We can have a conversation about what she thinks they mean versus what you think they mean.
Okay.
Okay. All right. But you have no objection. Okay. That'll be admitted. Go ahead.
As far as the property, it's still the same feature. Somewhere you will portion, the launching of it. And there are some other violations. She most you follow this issue.
Okay, and to your knowledge, the town of adopted international property maintenance code violation. And as a result of those violations, did you issue a warning letter? And after the issuance of that letter, did you see any improvement or efforts toward compliance by the owner?
No,
Did he ever reach out to you?
no.
And based upon this, would you then issue a citation? And it was that 4 violations and 4 requirements.
Yes.
And just real quick, let's go through those. It looks like you charged item 302.1 sanitation. Why did you do that?
The property is really an unsanitary institution.
And I,
Well, hold on. You gotta flesh that out. If it was clearly, I wouldn't need anybody to testify about it.
Items just thrown throughout the property, a little bit of potential for loaded cartilage.
and would you say that it is maintained in a clean, safe, and sanitary condition?
No, that's it.
And additionally, you issued IMPC 302.8 motor vehicle violation. What was that in particular ticket for?
It'll need to be in the operable manner, full license. There's some RVs that are not, don't look at anywhere close to being
And when you say not condition, would you mean things like tires or license plates or just inoperable?
inoperable as far as, looks like, flat tires, just if you can't, or stuff.
And about how many vehicles would you say that would encompass?
I'm sorry,
About how many vehicles would you say that encompasses?
I want to say 3 or 4, RVs, 2, 3, 4 RVs, and then, maybe 7, 8, 9, around that range of, semi-trailers.
And the third was IMPC 308.1 accumulation of rubbish or garbage. And why was that citation issued?
Kind of hand in hand with the sanitation, there are items, just garbage and rubbish throughout the property.
And is that represented in the photos that you took?
Yes, ma'am.
And then finally, you issued a citation for local ordinance blight. Why was that issued?
It encompasses all of what you spoke about as far as the property is blighted with the amount of rubbish, garbage, the semi-trailers, several party tents that are erected in the front yard, trailers full of like scrap and junk, in the front yard.
Okay. And, did you do any follow-up field inspection and vision for this citation back in January?
I did
And, when was the most recent time that you found that property?
this morning.
And, was the property still in violation?
Yes.
Has there been any compliance?
It appears that one of the tents, the contents that want to be removed, which basically just another huge, more rubbish was behind it than I couldn't see before.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Hubbard, do you have any questions for the officer? Okay, you can step down. No other witnesses? All right. Mr. Hubbard, do you have any witnesses? Would you like to testify?
Very getting tired.
Okay, well, you told me you were ready to go forward today without an attorney. I asked you if you were ready, you said, I haven't been able to hire an attorney, but I'm ready to go. That's what you told me. Okay, yeah, that's why you have a hearing. And I asked you, are you ready for your hearing? And you said, I'd like to have an attorney, but I'm ready to go forward today. So we went forward. So you don't want to ask the officer any questions. Do you want to tell me anything before I make a decision?
Well, yeah, I own a lot of properties and I own this property that I have now. My kids, they're all on my property with me. And I just want to on it. And every time I move, I would I have to back up and whenever I sold a property, a house, I had to back up and put stuff in semis, my own personal stuff, and brought it to my property and I was saying it up. And the vehicles, that's, one of my trucks broke down and I didn't.
Mr. Harbert continued to defend his situation by stressing that he had not intended to violate any laws and that the condition of the property was only temporary while he sorted through his belongings. He claimed he was actively working toward cleaning the area and bringing everything back into order, asking the court for understanding given his circumstances. He also clarified that the tents on the property were not part of any business setup, but rather a practical solution to manage and clean items during the process. However, the detailed photographic evidence presented by the enforcement officer strongly contradicted this explanation. The images showed extensive clutter spread across the property, including discarded materials, multiple inoperable recreational vehicles, and several large semi-trailers, elements that gave the property the appearance of a commercial storage or salvage site rather than a residential home. As the hearing progressed, it became clear that the issue was not just about temporary disorganization but about the scale and duration of the violations. Judge Oakley acknowledged Mr. Harbert's explanation but firmly stated that property owners are responsible for maintaining their premises in compliance with zoning regulations at all times, regardless of personal challenges. He highlighted that residential zoning exists to protect the safety, cleanliness, and overall quality of the neighborhood, and allowing such conditions to persist could set a harmful precedent. The judge's tone reflected both concern and firmness, making it clear that while the court may consider personal circumstances, it cannot ignore clear and ongoing violations that impact the broader community.
The gas tank works, so I don't blame the insurer because it broke down. So, and trailers, that's the same thing. I had some trailers when I moved, and I bought my trailers, double axle trailers, enclosed trailers, got my personal belongings in it. That was in my house. And I guess that's the ice, I guess. And I'm not saying there's not garbage laying around, but when it comes to the fish fry and everything all scattered out through the yard for having a yard sale, that's the fishing you see.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
all that stuff's gone, the yard sale's gone, because they say I'm having a lemur, because my fence sticks up.
okay, so,
My kids have a tent over there, so that's reason the tent's up. And, we're right tents up, we wash them, there's tents up in our yard all the time, because we're washing them, cleaning them, and everything else. I don't see how tents is gonna be, it's an issue,
have you seen these photographs?
So damn about it.
Every one of those tents looks like it's getting ready to fall down. Every one of them. So you're telling me that's the way that you put the tents up like that to wash them? Okay,
No, the snow came, you see they got snow on them, but snow came unexpected.
okay. So, hold on a minute. You're gonna tell me that all three of those tents had recently been rented and you put them up there to clean them and they got snowed on?
No, and he said throughout the summer, we cleaned tents, so there's tents in our yard
Right.
all throughout the
Why were they there in January?
because I went into you, the snow came down, we didn't have a chance to get everything done, so we worked on getting it done when the snow's on. He's like,
Okay.
we didn't want our tents up in the snow, that done was good, but
How long were they up?
so the weather ain't great, so we can fold it. You can't fold it because the
How long were they up?
started selling in the summertime, and so just recently, people got.
Okay, you can't do that. The ordinances don't allow you to put up a yard sale tent and leave it up there for months. What's the township's rule on yard sales?
Yeah, we don't have ordinances in yard sales, there's no more permit required, but it's certainly not between the summertime and January 5th.
Yeah. If it goes beyond a week, it's not a yard sale anymore, it's a business.
The CSD officer testified, it's almost like it's a flea market, it's just like,
So what's still there now, as of today? Sounds like there's a number of semi-trailers. Okay, do you have any, what I'll call passenger vehicles that are there that aren't roadworthy? Pickup trucks? Okay, what else?
We just got rid of the car, the wife got rid of it,
Okay, I don't want to know what's not there, I want to know what's there.
close to the backyard, which is close to the dump.
Sir, I'm not trying to make this difficult. I'm not asking you what used to be there.
He says,
Are those RVs roadworthy? Could you go take them down Oakville Waltz Road today? Why not?
we'll finish on it.
They don't run. Okay, so 2 RVs, a pickup truck, what else? What else is there today?
I think about that, that's not supposed to be there, I guess.
Okay, well, no debris in the yard? What kind of debris?
He came over one time years ago at the same property and told me I had to donate all my food, all my grandkids' plastic toys over there because they look like crap.
Okay,
Okay. Well, I didn't donate them, my
okay,
parents, they're all sorted out.
okay. All right, once again, I don't care about what was there years ago. I want to know what's there this morning. So do you have any boxes of stuff in the yard?
My front yard from the road, there's no way there's a blank. Just say that.
All right, you're making this harder than it's gotta be. I'm asking questions. I'm not getting answers. Are there any boxes of anything in the yard? Okay. How many tractor trailers are there? I didn't ask you where they were at. I asked you how many. A dozen? Okay. Does the township have any ordinance that covers those type of storage units on a residential property? I'm not asking you a question, Mr. Hubbard. I'm asking the prosecutor. Interrupt me again, I'll hold you in contempt, and then we'll continue the hearing. Clear?
They do, Your Honor. They cannot have any sort of commercial motor vehicle, truck, trailer, semi-trucks in residential, and as the officer testified, we sell residential art.
Are you aware of that, sir?
I mean, they're not gonna be no.
Yes or no? Are you aware of that? She just told you.
Now I'm aware.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, if those 12 semi-trailers are still there a month from now, they're probably gonna keep writing you tickets.
Well, why can't a person keep what they have and then cover it?
Because it's an ordinance. You're in a residential area and you're treating it like it's industrial. You want to live like that, you gotta go to the Wild Wild West where they don't have zoning rules.
No paper, only.
It doesn't, the zoning isn't only if a neighbor complains. Just the rules. You live in Huron Township, those are the rules in Huron Township. You don't like that, you gotta lobby your town board to change the rules. I would encourage you to do so. It's called Civics 101. I'm a big fan. But that's what the rules are currently where you live. And probably have been for decades.
Not giving any proof and just says that.
They don't have to prove their ordinance for you to comply. They're proving it today to me. Go to town hall. They'll be happy to give you copies of all the ordinances. Happy to. If it helps you get into compliance, they probably won't even charge you for copies. Well, I shouldn't say that. They might charge you for copies. But you're clearly responsible from your own lips. You're clearly responsible for what they're charging you for. How long have you owned that piece of property? All right. I'm confused as to why I've got 3 files that all have the same date on them and all have the same 3 charges. 2.1, 2.8, and 8.1. All 3 tickets, all same date.
I only have one citation with 4 charges.
Okay. All right, well, here's what I'm going to do. Mr. Hubbard, I am going to find you responsible on ticket number ending in 99C, violation of technical requirements. And that particular ticket shows 302.1 sanitation, 302.8 motor vehicle, and 308.1 accumulation of rubbish or garbage. I'm dismissing the other 3 files that I have. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? Okay. So fines and costs on today's ticket, $200. Now, you currently owe us $936. No, I'm sorry. You currently owe $216 on a double parking ticket from last year. Can you pay the $216 and the $200 today? So $416. Can you pay that today? When?
He's good on it, got my tax and paid.
Okay, I can't deal with an I don't know. So can you commit to some kind of regular payments? Like weekly, monthly?
Monthly,
How much?
month.
Start when?
Um,
Next Friday, the 8th? All right. So you got $200 on today's file, $216 on the double parking file. You're going to do that at $50 a month, start on May 8th. They're going to keep writing you tickets if the conditions don't improve. If you're not sure what you have to do to get into compliance, I'm sure Officer will talk to you today, or go to the township and get copies of the printouts. Any questions?
I mean, it next to the dust. What am I supposed to do with this stuff?
I just told you that. I just said, I'm sure the officer would be happy to talk to you, or you can go to the township and get copies of the ordinances. C, A, and B, and 200 I dismissed.
Not responsible on all of them is because a misdemeanor citation required an underlying conviction on civil infractions. So
I found you responsible on the civil infraction. Mr. Hubbard, we're still talking about your file, but I can't understand why I got 3 duplicate files.
So there's 4 violation of technical requirements. That's what the court posed it as, and then each one in the remarks is identified what specifically the violation is. So there's IBC.
I did my words are my words. I've made my ruling. Now you can all leave. I already told him you're gonna keep issuing tickets if things don't get fixed. I understand that. He understands that. All right. Mr. Bowditch, you got some ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Come on up.
In the end, Judge Oakley delivered a firm and unmistakable ruling, holding Mr. Harbert fully responsible for the condition of his property and the repeated violations of residential zoning laws. While the immediate fine of $200 added to his existing balance may not seem severe, the judge made it clear that this was only the beginning if compliance was not achieved. He ordered a structured payment plan and issued a strong warning that continued neglect would result in additional citations, escalating fines, and potentially more serious legal consequences. The tone of the court shifted from explanation to accountability, emphasizing that repeated warnings had already been given and ignored. This case ultimately highlights a broader lesson about responsibility and the importance of maintaining property standards within a community. Zoning laws are not just technical rules, they exist to protect neighborhoods, preserve safety, and ensure a reasonable quality of life for everyone living nearby. By allowing the property to remain in such a condition, the situation had gone beyond a simple cleanup issue and into a clear legal violation. As the hearing came to a close, Judge Oakley's message stood firm: there are no shortcuts or excuses when it comes to compliance. Action must be taken immediately. For viewers, this case serves as a reminder that small issues can quickly turn into serious legal problems if left unaddressed. Staying proactive, responding to official notices, and respecting local regulations can prevent situations like this from escalating. If you found this courtroom case insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life legal stories and breakdowns.